Recently, we got done facing off on the boss on GA-8, and I wanted to take this video to kind of explain what I was going through and kind of the mindset that I had going into this guy, because at the very beginning, it almost felt like this dude was immortal. So let's go ahead and start it. Okay, so jumping into the actual gameplay here, I do want to talk about kind of my thought process going into it. So I think this was about 4 or 5 times that I actually played this stage before I kind of got the gist of it. I decided to make this trifecta of Myrtle, Flametail, and Thorns. Now, Myrtle's going to be kind of like a gate, basically. They're going to be able to allow somebody to go in and fight Thorns. Now, Thorns doesn't necessarily need to have like kind of this moderation. Basically, he can probably take on anybody that has kind of goes through, but I was just kind of using it as a way to have like a little bit of extra damage. Flametail is going to be able to handle this right side pretty well. We will help her a little bit with Click and Blemish here in a bit, but basically with Myrtle, it's just kind of like she attacks until she gets her ult, and then that's it. She lets people through, then Thorns finishes the rest, and then so on and so forth. So the reason I kind of did this trifecta, I guess, doesn't really matter too much. It's just kind of the positioning, Flametail being there to help out with the right side, so I don't have to worry about it. And then eventually I buff it up with Click and Blemish. Now, the boss himself, I was setting up on this bottom middle area, basically around this tower. I did not want the towers to get converted. If you guys don't know how these work, basically they give you SP, which is very nice. It gives you ult, it gives you stuff to help out quite a bit. But if the HP for the tower actually goes down to 0, it will do kind of an AoE thing, stun your units, and then it gives SP to the enemies. Each enemy has their own gimmick on ammo, and the ammo is replenished by the SP. And most of the time it's like increased attack or increased defense and stuff like that. So you definitely don't want to have it. Or these cart bros, they every single time that they have an SP thing, they can dish out another heart, and it's just overwhelming. It gets very overwhelming pretty quickly. So initially I was putting everybody kind of on this middle tile, but the boss actually has a ricochet effect, basically. So whenever he shoots his attack, it ricochets between the nearest 5 units, and it pretty much makes, at least from what I could find, the middle part very hard to kind of hang out on. So the other idea here is that I actually have to kind of work on baiting him, because I do not want him to take that middle tower. It is not fun. Now Blemish and Click is going to go over here, not to necessarily help Flametail, but she is going to be kind of preemptive, because there's going to be a shield bro that eventually comes through, and he's going to want to go down to that staircase. And so I pretty much just put this here to help out with the arts damage that's needed, as well as Blemish being able to block. Now Gravel's about to go out, and that's mainly to bait the attack, because there's only so many attacks that this tower can take before it actually converts. And it's not necessarily all of his attacks. There's another shield bro that will walk up here in a minute. But if I bait this one attack here, and then I bait this other one with Blemish, I don't necessarily have to worry about this tower being taken over, which is why I put Gravel out there in the first place, just to bait that initial attack. And then here's the shield bro. He's going to do his tank stuff. So basically his thing is whenever he has SP or ammo, basically in this case, he does missile launching. So it's not really that annoying, to be honest. If you have a good, decent defender, you're not going to really deal too much with that. So here I am just kind of talking about what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this guy at the bottom here, he's just going to go ahead and pelt it. He is going to do a little bit of damage, but it's not going to be enough to actually convert it. So we're good there. And basically, if he can't get his SP, which is why we don't want these towers red, then I don't have to worry about it, because he can't get that ammo back, basically, unless those towers are red. I am going to use some mirrors. So I decided to use debuff because I wanted to get through phase 1 quickly. Yes, you heard me correctly. Phase 1 quickly, and then phase 2 is at a whole another story. So here I am basically talking about what I'm going to do, because I wanted to set up, because what ends up happening is he goes down this staircase over here at the bottom right, and then he comes up here at the top. So there's only so many tiles you can actually put, and he's unblockable, by the way. So if you're wondering, you cannot block the dude. So you basically have to try to do as much damage as you can in a straight line and let it go from there. So here's where I'm like, okay, do I set up over here? Do I kind of wait? What my idea at this point was to actually put Gravel out as kind of like a redeployment buffer for Radiant Knight. And then I was going to put Searcher out, and then Xe had to do a max amount of damage, but I had to find a straight line. So I went ahead and I put Gravel out in kind of a way to bait a little bit so that tower didn't get pelted, but at the same time is more just for the redeployment stuff. Now there is a shield bro with him, because I was the guy that was on the bottom lane as well. And here's where I'm like, okay, this is what I do. I put out Radiant Knight, which is going to be on this tile right here. Here in a second, you'll see. Then I'm going to put out Searcher, and then I'm going to put Axia, and then I'm going to put out the doll. So this dude right here, he's just going to walk up. I guess it doesn't really matter where he goes, but this is just for phase 1. So I do all this, and honestly, if I'm being 100% honest here, this is a total overkill for phase 1. I probably could have just put Searcher out, and I think it would have been enough, or even Radiant Knight at this point in Xe. I think it would have been plenty fine, because Xe was actually shooting up at that guy for a majority of that whole entire thing. So I kind of went overkill on it because I was kind of nervous. Now here's where I'm like, okay, everybody retreat. The dude is immortal now. He's basically, setting up for phase 2, which is you know, every single boss has like that kind of invincible stage that they go through when they're transitioning. Now this this is actually kind of a cool gimmick, not gonna lie. This is actually pretty fun. So this is like a scan ability, and it takes the 5 units and or towers that you have, and it hits everybody at once. So what I'm doing right now is I'm baiting it with gravel, which actually, okay, I thought I missed for a minute. I baited it with gravel and a Mio. If this run wasn't going to work, I was actually going to use Phantom and his doll, because he would have actually counted as Phantom, and then his doll would have counted as 1 as 2. But I decided to let Mudrock and Thorns tank it. Thorns, unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily die, but it kind of goes into his downfall, basically. So it did target the tower up here, as you can see. So that's about half health, which is kind of concerning. But the right side's pretty much done for the most part. There's not too much going on over there for right now. Now, these cart bros at the bottom, these guys are very tanky, and they shoot at these little carts. Now, the reason that that's so annoying is because they do damage whenever they get killed. So basically they do like a fire thing, and they can only shoot out 3 of them because of their SP. But if they have these towers, which is something I was running into, if the towers are converted, these cart bros just send carts after one after another, and it's annoying. It's very, very annoying. Very quickly things start dying, and the fact that they're just tanky in their own right is just so annoying. So not only do you have to worry about the boss, you have to worry about the cart bros and how tanky they're being. So now I'm kind of getting ready to get everybody out of the way, because he walks through quite a bit. Actually, you have quite a bit of time, because what he'll do is he's going to walk all the way down to Blemisheim, and then he's going to go down to this staircase, and this staircase actually goes straight into Thorns. So right now I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and get rid of the majority of everybody. I'm just going to let him walk through. Mudrock's not going to die. She can hang out. He's unblockable, so it doesn't matter. He's going to walk through. I think I actually should have got rid of Samir and redeployed her at this point. But now I'm trying to keep her alive and click, so I kind of put out gravel to bait those shots, because like I said, he has a ricochet effect, but only if it's close, like close enough in the tile radius, basically. So luckily, gravel being right there, she wasn't close enough, from what I understand anyway. She wasn't close enough to have that ricochet effect. So Mudrock's gonna go to town, Mudrock and stuff. Kind of a cool spot to put her in. Originally I was having Mudrock where Blemisheim was, but I felt that Mudrock was way more useful here just because of those cards. Those cards get very overwhelming very, very quickly, and especially if you don't have these towers. Basically, if you do not have all these towers blue, this guy would be getting an SP boost over here in the corner, and he would just non-stop send cards. Now we're gonna go through another wave of the scan here, but I pretty much have everybody set up. I think I go for gravel here, and I think I actually put out Myrtle up in the corner. But I don't think she actually dies, funny enough. But I go ahead and I target my middle tower as one of the baits as well, and then I pop her. I pop her all, and then I get rid of her, which didn't really make a difference. But here we go. So we're kind of getting ready. We're doing a little bit of damage with Click the Blimmy down there on the boss. Obviously he's unblockable, but he does kind of stand there for a little bit. Now I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do next and where I'm going to put Thorns, because the idea was to actually put Thorns here, because he's going to come up on this staircase. But the thing is, he doesn't go straight up, he turns, which was kind of a, what do you want to call it? Like kind of a left field type of thing. I thought he was just going to go straight for the box. He does not. So we'll kind of fast forward this a little bit. I put a Mia out just to help out with the arts damage on the actual parts here. Unfortunately, my Click and Samir die, so I cannot get ready for the doll, which is what I was going to do. But luckily it's fine enough. This middle one does end up going down as far as like my tower does, but it's not really going to hurt me too much in the grand scheme of things, because you can actually see the outline here is red here. This middle one isn't like super annoying, I guess, to lose basically, but it does kind of suck. But the cart bros are actually not going to get the buff from it, at least not for very long. So I think they only go literally in this one little tile, and then they go back up. So now I'm going to bait again. This is kind of the same idea that I just had with the Searcher Exia Radiant Night buff. I went ahead and I put gravel out just for the redeployment time in case that came down to that. Wouldn't have mattered because he can't be blocked, so he would walk through. And then I actually put Searcher behind Mudrock, and I'm so happy that I did this, because keep an eye on this tower up here. This tower, it doesn't stay alive for very long. And then I put Exia out, literally the same idea that I had, but that tower gets converted very fast. So what ends up happening is basically what I said earlier, where if that tower gets converted, they get stunned and they take a massive amount of damage. So now not only is Radiant Knight and Exia stunned, Gravel's obviously not on a tile that he can actually hit. I only have Searcher. Now luckily I put Searcher over there behind Mudrock. That was not actually intentional, because I didn't know that was going to happen, but I like to believe it was. And then Radiant Knight wakes up to kill the cart bro, and that's it. So like I said, it gets very overwhelming very quickly, but if you can hold out on a majority of those towers, you are going to do a lot better towards the end there, because when stuff starts converting, at least you have a little bit of time where you're just dealing with like one cart bro and the boss and stuff like that, and it's not necessarily as overwhelming. But if you lose those very early on, it can be very, very overwhelming. So anyway, that was my run. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.